Thank you so much, Joy, for speaking with us. I've got to ask, you've literally just shifted, quickly moved from China to London to, how do you do this?
You know, Johnson, when you do a job that you're passionate about, when you're selling your country and really the region, letting the world know, first of all, that the Caribbean exists, and then the Bahamas. I'm going to be biased and say the jewel in the crown. I mean, it just gives you the energy, it gives you the impetus. Furthermore, we see in the Bahamas our numbers are up. And it is important that we don't rest on our laurels, that we are present, that we let the world know that as a region and as a country, we are open for business, we are serious, and we're here to take our piece of the pie.
It wasn't long ago that the Caribbean was in the Bahamas for the State of the Tourism Industry Conference, and the Minister, Jibrilu, spoke about the rising numbers that you just spoke about and said, we're just keeping the Caribbean's share for the time being, but frankly you're doing quite well. What's responsible for this?
Yes. We've seen tremendous growth year on year in the Bahamas with our tourism visitor arrivals. I think that there are a number of factors. First of all, the world was waiting for the opening of Bahamas, the largest single-phase property resort development, I think they've said, in the Western Hemisphere. It has finally opened in its entirety earlier this year. Came in at around $4.2 billion. So just the interest that that property has generated. But more importantly, negotiated airlift, not just for Nassau and Paradise Island. The multiplicity of the islands that we're responsible for promoting. So Abaco, Eleuthera, Exuma, and getting direct airlift from Canada and the United States into those islands themselves. It has caused for great growth. Marketing, I'm so proud of our team. We have come out with a rebranded Bahamas campaign, and we're going to ratchet it up. So January of 2019, we're coming out with our first brand campaign in about 7 years. So all of this, the trinity or trilogy of events, has caused for this real interest in the Bahamas, and I think that's had an impact on our visitor arrivals.
Tell us a little bit more about this new brand campaign.
One of the things that we have all talked about within our region, we all know that we all promote sun, sand, and sea. But people are looking for something more than that, especially when we look at the millennial travel, the younger traveler. They want an authentic experience. We look at our hotel properties now, and I'm going to say finally, Atlantis, they're promoting Bahamas at heart. That people aren't traveling because they want to go to Atlantis. They make the decision to go to the Bahamas and then decide where they would stay. And so they've infused and injected everything Bahamian into their resort. Bahamas, it is just filled with Bahamian artwork, so that people who come to Bahamas, they get to experience Bahamian culture firsthand. And so when we talk about the new brand campaign, it's showing the people, it's showing the food, it's showing things that are unique to us, our music, our festivals, and letting people know that yes, of course it's a given. You're going to get sun, sand, and sea. But there is so much more that makes up the Bahamas, and that's resonating with people.
Okay, so because we were there for Sotica just a month ago, and we're able to experience a lot of that Bahamian that you just talked about here, one of the key things that came up from certainly the media with whom I worked there was the food. Just a little bit about this Bahamian food and what makes it stand out.
Yeah. Wherever we go, people who come to the Bahamas, whenever they experience Bahamian food, and interestingly enough, whether Asia, whether European, whether the Caribbean, or whether the diaspora looking for soul food, they always say, gosh, you've got something for everyone. You know, I want to talk about our Bahamian staple, conch. The British would call it conch, but the correct pronunciation, if you're a true Bahamian, is conch. When that's served, almost sushi style, you know, just seasoned with the lemons and the peppers and the herbs, refreshing, it's tasty. But food, it's fresh, from the sea primarily, natural seasonings and herbs. And the palate, it's a palate for everyone. People, it resonates, whether international cuisine, five-star restaurants, like the Grey Cliff, like Cafe Matisse, like Sapodilla, but they've infused everything with the taste of the Bahamas, and that sets it apart. And we know that food speaks to people. When it tastes good, they feel good, and they want to come back for more. And so we're really proud of our cuisine.
Something else that impressed the entire media team that was there for SOTIC was that night when we went to one person's home for dinner. You call it people to people. Tell us what people to people is, and does the world know about people to people?
The Bahamas is so proud of a program. It's called the People to People Experience. It's existed for 46 years now. And the idea behind it was people come to your country. They could stay in a hotel, and that's going to be the experience that they have of your country, a resort, a hotel. It doesn't touch you, it doesn't touch me. And they leave not having an understanding of our way of life. The people-to-people experience, it matches people before they come. Person can go on our website, www.bahamas.com, and they see this, and they can match up with a family. If you're an educator, you can match up with a family that has education in its background. If you're into the arts, you can match up with an artist. And the idea is that you spend a day, or you spend time with that family, go to their home, you share, or we say you break bread together. They get to show you a side of our country that you would not ordinarily see. But what is amazing about this program is it touches people in such a way. Friendships are formed, people who've come and had that experience. Last year, we had one woman who had a people-to-people experience. She said in all her years of traveling, she'd never experienced something like that. What we didn't know was that she was a corporate COE. She came back with 350 of her best employees, and it was that people-to-people experience. We have families where grandparents, parents, and now the third generation are involved with it. Bahamian families end up going as far afield as New Zealand. Family from New Zealand came, husband and wife came maybe 40 years ago. They've ended up bringing their children. They had a family reunion with over 100 people in the Bahamas just because of people to people. We're very proud of it. It is a signature program to the Bahamas. We have shared with many of our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean who have wanted to learn about it. And as I said, it gives people an opportunity to experience firsthand who we are, what we represent, and that's what's pleasing to people.
We have not even talked about the world travel market, have we? There is so much. But how's the UK European market doing for the Bahamas?
You know, without a shadow of a doubt, the European market is huge for us. It's not about numbers. If we look in terms of visitor arrivals, stopover visitor arrivals, people would say, wow, they only represent 6% of your total visitors coming to the Bahamas. But what people don't understand is when a European travels to the Bahamas, they prefer what we call our out islands, and they don't stay for your average 4 nights. They're going to stay 10 nights to 2 weeks. So their contribution to our GDP is so much greater. So to be here is so important. To enforce, to cement relationships. The Bahamas prides itself. British Airways still flies from Heathrow, Terminal 5 to the Bahamas. We want to make sure that we continue with that relationship and even grow it. And with the growth that we have now, you know, to have talks with other European airlines, the other big boy in the UK market, who used to fly to the Bahamas, they don't anymore, but to start those conversations again and say, this is the time. We have the inventory. The demand is there. The marketing is there. So it is so important, not only that we as the Ministry of Tourism is here, but our promotion boards are here, our private sector partners are here, because this means real and tangible business for all of us.
Thank you so much, John.
You're so very welcome.